Greetings everyone, and thank you for joining me for my very first vlog, Free to Be Me Chronicles. Here I'll be sharing some of my realizations on my own personal journey of freedom. And you might be asking yourself, freedom from what? Freedom from any and everything, literally. Today though, we're going to be talking about free to be courageous. And I wanted to jumpstart this vlogging journey by just sharing about what I consider one of the major arch enemies to freedom, and that's fear. Fear. Most of us have dealt with it. Most of us have experienced it in some way. And what we know about fear is that it's paralyzing, it's mortifying, and it causes us to really look at someone or something or some situation that we're facing. And when we look at it, it seems as though it's threatening and it's bigger than who we are. These things seem to be bigger, they seem to be more painful than we can bear, they seem to just be more than we can handle, and even more complicated than we can fix sometimes. Whatever it is, fear says that it's more than me, it's more than you. The funny thing is that fear not only comes in real situations, real things that we really do and should fear, but it also comes in imagined situations. I don't know about you, but I have the ability to imagine a situation in my mind, play it all the way out in my head, and by the time it's finished, everything in that situation was too much, it was too big, it was too risky, it was too unstable, it was too uncertain, it was just too much. Well, that's fear at work, and I realized even in my own life that I was just fearing any and everything. I was fearing failure, but I was also fearing succeeding. I was fearing stepping into something new, but I was also fearing just remaining the same. Fear, it had me so gripped that I realized I had no courage. I was paralyzed and couldn't do anything. And that's like the most horrible way to live in life. Well, I realized one day that living in fear was definitely overrated. It wasn't all that it cracked up to be. I didn't like it. I realized that it postured me. It put me in the place where I was really watching my life go by. I felt like promises that I had and things that God had said or dreams and desires I had were just not at my reach anymore. And you're probably like me saying, yes, I have accomplished some things. And yes, that's true. I have. But even though I've accomplished things, I really hadn't and still have not tapped into the depths of the fulfillment that belonged to me, that God fulfillment, everything He promised me. And this wasn't because I was incapable or lacked the capacity to do it. No, it was all because of fear. I was afraid. I didn't have the courage to do it. And so I got fed up. I was like, no more. Nope, not doing it anymore. I don't like the way this train rides. I really don't. And it was just that simple. I made a decision. And I decided to feed my faith and starve my fears, one decision at a time. I decided to be courageous. So after thinking and deliberating about how to practically do this, because I'm kind of a practical person, I like to put it into practice, I realized that in an effort to starve my fears, I just had to jump, literally. I couldn't think about it because fear was not going to make it comfortable for me. It wasn't going to make it easy for me to leave it. None of that was going to happen, so I just had to jump out of it. I had to be courageous and jump out of fear and into what I believed could be possible. Now, many times I didn't know what I was jumping into, but I really had to put my fear behind me and say, you know what? I'm just going to jump. I'm just going to trust and I'm going to jump. So I did just that. I took a jump. Take a look at this video.
my God, that was phenomenal. Free to be me.
Oh my God, wasn't that great? I mean, I can feel the adrenaline flowing right now like it was then. I was so hyped and I was so excited in that moment. And I literally practiced in that moment what I'm telling you about right now. I literally put all fear behind me and I just jumped. I jumped. But I'm sure many of you are like, no ma'am, not me. I'm not jumping out of a plane. And jumping out of a plane is not necessary. Absolutely not, unless that's just what you want to do. But I decided to take that jump for two reasons. One, because I'm just adventurous like that. It was my 40th birthday then, and I wanted to do something that was amazing. But two, because I was at a point in my life where I really was sick and tired of fearing everything. And so it was symbolic for me of jumping out of all of the things that fear had gripped me in and paralyzed me in. And it was me jumping into those things where I could go more and do more and be more of what God said. When I jumped out of that plane, I jumped out of my fears of failing, succeeding, living, loving, starting what was new, and even leaving what was old. I jumped into every possibility, every opportunity, every purpose, every destiny that God had given me. Now, many of you might say, well, has all that God said to you, has it come to pass? Absolutely not. But guess what? Some of it has. This vlog is just one of the things that has come to pass already, because I jumped out of fear even to do this simple thing. And I know that I've got to continue to be courageous. I got to jump every time. When the next opportunity presents itself and fear tries to grip me, I got to jump, and I got to jump again. And I got to keep jumping on every word that my Father promised me. I don't know what you're fearful of. I don't know what it is that's gripping you and paralyzing you, or why fear is paralyzing you there. But I'm challenging you to jump, not out of a plane necessarily, but out of your fears. Whether it's starting in ministry or launching a business, whether it's going on a missionary journey or stepping into corporate America, eating right, dieting, exercising, whether it's witnessing to people in your neighborhood or at your job, whether it's even loving again or trusting again, praying for people, your loved ones, your family, writing a book, starting a blog, traveling, finishing what you started, whatever it is that God is compelling you to do, I'm encouraging right now to just jump. I promise you that what lies in front of you, it is so much more liberating than what you're staying in right now. Why? Because God has a plan for you. And if his plan is in place, then attached to that is everything you need in order to jump and survive. So just jump. It's okay. I promise you'll survive. I believe that God is calling us. He's compelling us. He's pulling us to take that jump and be courageous. This has been Dr. LaToya, and I am free to be courageous. Please join me.